A number of years ago, when my two youngest daughters, Claire and Madeline, who are now both in college, when they were just about 1 and 2 years old, we went on a canoe trip. Looking back, it was actually the last canoe trip we had, which is too bad because canoeing's a lot of fun. But we went on a canoeing trip with some people from church. And it was a beautiful summer afternoon, very calm days. It hadn't been flooding, so the river was calm. And so I remember we were near the end. We were the last canoe. We had another group that was in front of us. Another, we could see them, not too far in front of us, but we were taking our time, and we were having a great time. Well, all of a sudden, when you're canoeing, often your canoe will turn a little bit here and there, no big deal. And this little bitty stump was coming out of the water. It was probably just 3 or 4 inches out of the water, and it was a circular diameter of about 3 or 4 inches. Nothing. I knew if our canoe hit that, it'd be fine. Just turn us the other way and we'll keep going. I did not worry about this little bitty stump. But you know what happens? If that little bitty stump hits that canoe right smack dab in the middle, you will tip. So we tipped. Now, the sad thing is we've gotten out of the river earlier and it was 2 feet high, no big deal. Of course, we get tipped here, we can't touch. And all of a sudden, I see Claire, my 2-year-old, has life vest on and she's fine. My wife yells, "Where's Madeline?" And I look around, I didn't see her. And instinctively, I thought she must be under the capsized canoe. So I go into the water and I look and there's Madeline and she's got her vest on too, so we're fine. I just take her, I pull her out of the canoe and she is fine. And we're floating down the river fairly fast at this point because there's no, we can't touch, it's a deeper part of the river. And finally, my daughter Claire is grabbing for the sunglasses, the towel, the really important stuff there, which we didn't care about. We just wanted to make sure the family was okay, right? And so finally, I get the canoe tipped over. We get over to the edge. Everything is okay. I think we lose one of the oars. Not a big deal, but it's really frightening, especially when you have young kids that you don't know what's going to happen. But the problem is I was fairly optimistic from my experiences that this wasn't going to be a big deal. Sometimes being optimistic can hurt you. And the title of this talk today is Be Optimistic, but Don't Be Naive. Now, my friends will tell me, that doesn't sound like you, Kyle, because you're very optimistic and you seem to think that's the right way to go, which I do. I think it's much better to be optimistic. In fact, a talk that I heard this morning at our national sales meeting in Nashville, Tennessee, the guy, Jenner, I can't remember his last name, said the line, he said, the world is loaded with Eeyores. Overloaded with Eeyores. We need more Tiggers. That's what I am. I think it brings excitement and joy. Yet we have to be cautious, and that's what I want to share with you today. We've got to be able to look at the bright side, but we also need to be prepared for other things that could happen just in case. Not focus on those, but be prepared. And I was thinking through scriptures in the Bible and stories of characters, and I thought of Samson. A lot of you know of Samson and Delilah. He was the guy who was the Incredible Hulk long before the Incredible Hulk came along. He had this long hair, and God blessed him with incredible strength. He'd tear up lions and did, killed incredible amounts of men in the Philistine army. And so he had all these great things, yet he got cocky. He got extra optimistic because he knew what his strength could do. And so he would often be tested, and he would make fun of people, would test him because he knew he could do more. He wasn't being prepared until finally Delilah, after about the 3rd or 4th time, finally asked him, what is the key to the other people, the Philistines, were tricking her, or were asking her to find out what was his strength. How did he get the strength? And finally he let on. He says, you cut my hair. No razor has ever got to my head. So sure enough, he falls asleep. They cut his hair off. He lost all his strength. So he realized all this optimism he's had doesn't matter anymore. Now he has no strength. They gouge out his eyes. Sounds gross, right? So finally, they want to bring him out and make fun of him. And that's where the story picks up. I'm going to read Judges 16, and this is the verses 25 through 30. And it goes, while they were in high spirits, they shouted, meaning the Philistines, "Bring out Samson to entertain us." So they called Samson out of the prison, and he performed for them. When they stood him among the pillars, Samson said to the servant who held his hand, "Put me where I can feel the pillars that support the temple, so that I may lean against them." Now the temple was crowded with men and women. All of the rulers of the Philistines were there, and on the roof were about 3,000 men and women watching Samson perform. Then Samson prayed to the Lord, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just once more, and let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." Then Samson reached toward the two central pillars on which the temple stood, bracing himself against them. His right hand was on the one, and his left hand was on the other. And Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." Then he pushed with all his might, and down came the temple on the rulers and all the people in it. Thus he killed many more when he died than when he lived. So my point here is this is a man that had done a lot of foolish things. He had great optimism that he could do these great things, but when it finally came to it, he over-exaggerated what he could do. And he remembered where he got the source of his strength to begin with, and that was from God. Now, those of us who are Christians, we know that optimism is often grounded in more than just what we hope that will happen. It's in our faith in Jesus Christ and what he's proven for us, and that's where our faith comes from to live for God. So here are some things how you can optimistically do great things in your life, yet stay prepared in case they don't work. Here are just a couple tips. Number one, read everything you can. I'm a reader, I'm a learner. Always be prepared to read and learn everything you can about the situation that you're in so that you are prepared. It doesn't mean you can't visualize what you expect to happen to be great things, which you should. You should hope that great things will happen. But be prepared, read about it so you're knowledgeable about it, so you have the experiences to go forward. Secondly, talk to people who are close to the situation. Who are people you trust? Who are people that have been through this before? People that you know that you can talk to get wise advice and judgment from. So read, study all that you can. Listen to wise people that's been through this before. Make those wise decisions. Yet have the joy that comes with being optimistic that great things are going to happen because you've prepared, because you want to live a life that's not built by fear, but built on the hope of what can accomplish. And if you're a Christian, lastly, pray. Pray that God, the Almighty who created the heavens and the earth, has a great thing for you planned and knows what great plans he has for you. Put your faith in him. Ask him for his help. As Christians, we have that incredible ability that nobody else has. Take that upon you. And so, lastly, I'll leave you with a quote by John Wooden that says, "Things turn out the best for people who make the best of the way things turn out." I'll repeat that because it's kind of a tongue twister. He goes, "Things turn out the best for people who make the best of the way that things turn out." Make your own actions happen, but be prepared. Expect the best, but be prepared for if they don't go exactly as planned. That way you won't fall on your face as, unfortunately, I have too many times in my past. Have a great day.